People are always looking for the most tender piece of beef, but you've got to remember about the flavor, and flavor doesn't always come with tenderness. Sometimes you need to chew. Just like use your teeth and chew. And both of these exemplify that. They're not melting your mouth. Hi guys, it's James from Meatster again, and you can probably tell what this video is going to be. Another steak out. I've got this great new hunting knife from Blenheim Forge. I haven't used it yet, mainly because I don't hunt things. Rabbits, deer, boar, they're not going to find their way onto this table, probably. Not yet, anyway. But it is going to be good for unboxing. So let's hope I can do this without slicing any of my digits off. Okay, what have we got in front of us? We have a USDA Sirloin. And that is US Department of Agriculture, and this is a prime grade cut, and that is the highest grade over there. I think you have select and choice and a couple of others, but prime is from the best possible source. And this is from Creekstone Farm, particularly high quality producer, and this beef is being used in some top London restaurants. Sexy Fish, the Ned, that's pretty awesome. This is certified Black Angus cattle, fed with corn, which gives nice marbling, good flavour. And this Incredible Galicia, well, if you don't know anything about Galician beef, this is from the northwest of Spain. And as opposed to normal cows, which are used for beef that get to about 3 years old, these are 10 to 15 years old. And that means that they've had longer to get marbling into the meat. They are then dry aged. So this has had about 3 weeks of dry aging, which isn't a massive amount, but beyond 2 weeks, you start to see the benefits of tenderness and flavor. This one has had 1 month wet aging. Now, wet aging doesn't do a massive amount for the flavor, but on the other hand, I do find that wet aged beef is pretty tender and juicy. But the other thing we're gonna do with this is we're gonna take off what we need for today, and then hopefully with about this much left, a decent sized chunk, we're going to then get that dry aged, and we're gonna dry age that for up to 6 weeks. So we're going to cut a piece off at about 2 weeks and then keep the rest of it for another 3 to 4 weeks after that. And I want to see how the process works as we go along. And I think something you might find really interesting. If you do, then why don't you subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notifications, and in about 6 weeks that video should come out and we can all see together 2 weeks maybe versus 4 weeks versus 6 weeks of dry aging. All right, let's open up the USDA Sirloin. I've got some kitchen paper. There might be quite a lot of blood in here. Now you can see there into the sirloin that we've got a really nice amount of marbling here. So let's just dry this off a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna use another new blade I've got, which is another one from Blenheim Forge. It's a slicing knife. And what I like about this compared to some of my other Blenheim Forge knives is that this is stainless steel clad, so it's gonna need slightly less upkeep. Normally you have to oil them and make sure that they're always dry. So here we go, first time I'm using it. I'm gonna cut off a good inch here. Go through that, wow. That's really sort of, having cut, you know, beef a lot, it's really creamy feeling fat. Wow, this knife goes through it so easily. There we go, beautiful piece of sirloin. And that is going to be the USDA today. That's going to be the one that goes up against the Galician. So you can just see that that's a really beautifully marbled piece of beef. Right, let's open this one up. Wow, it's a completely different smell. It's got some age to it, and the fat is sticking to the inside of the plastic. It's clearly going to be quite tender, I think. Wow, completely different smell. Got some of those aged notes, and there's a lot of fat on here. That's really interesting. Wow, look at all that blood. You probably don't want to see all of that. Let's get this out of the bag. All right, let's first of all just weigh out what we cut off with the USDA. All right, that was 340 grams. No, it's still too small. Right, those are the kids' ones for this evening. All right, look at that. Wow. Still 40 grams too small. Let's go again. These are all going to be vacuum packed for future use anyway. Wow, that is a monster. All right, it is within 5 grams of the other piece. That's perfect. Why don't we go and cook these beefs and see exactly what they're like. I'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, I'm back. These have rested for about 10 minutes, which is great. The Galician one has been bleeding. I mean, when I say bleeding, I don't necessarily just mean blood, but like, I just had to wipe up a lot here. They've got a great crust on the outside. I did use the thermometer, they got to 130 each, you'll have seen that. Now, let's just get straight into it. I want to cut this bit off here. All right, let's get into this. This looks amazing. All right. Okay. So that's near to rare, which I'm happy with for sirloin. I can't help myself. All right. Now, it's something I'm going to have to get better at, is cooking these identically. This was a lot thicker, this was a lot thinner. I cooked them to the same temperature, but of course the thinner one will sort of keep cooking a bit more because the heat will have penetrated further inside. But this is still medium, so let's start with the USDA. Okay, look, I hold my hands up. It's more cooked than this one. It doesn't mean that it's cooked wrongly because a lot of people would like it medium. The fat that you get is really flavoursome. The texture is, it has a nice bite to it, you know. It's a rugged piece of sirloin, and that's what I do like that about sirloin. Wow. I mean, look, Americans do love their steak, so it's obvious that USDA beef is going to be great. This is an archetypal sirloin steak with great flavour. Not an aged flavour, as we know, it's wet aged, but something so beefy about it. There's flavour all the way through the meat because being corn-fed as opposed to grass-fed, which is what I eat a lot of in the UK, there's a different flavour. Okay, that's an amazing piece of beef. I'm really excited to see what happens when we age it. All right, the Galician. Now, this could be something special, I think. Oh. Guys, that's it. I think I might have found meat heaven. Wow. I've never tasted anything like it. You know what I like is this has only been aged for sort of just about up to 3 weeks. Dry age. So normally Galician beef that I've had has had so much dry aging that is the flavour that penetrates the most. It's that really aged meat flavour. So I would say it's like mushroomy and gamey and all those things. It's so nice to be able to taste the meat a little bit more fresh. Okay. Okay, let me taste this again. Now, the USDA beef has a different texture completely. Okay. Oh. They're both so fantastic. I tell you what's special about the USDA beef is the quality of the fat on here. Just so melty. Such clean beef flavour that this might be the most archetypal sirloin steak I've ever had. You know, the ones that you have in a great restaurant and you wish you could make at home. And I can see that there is fat running through the meat, and it just means that every mouthful is juicy, even though it's cooked to medium, despite using a thermometer. And this is cooked medium rare. You can see all the attributes of this beef. You can see that it doesn't matter how you cook it, the fat that's in there is going to keep basting the meat. The Galician, on the other hand, interestingly, it looks, on the face of it, it does look leaner on the inside. But flavour is something special. It's deep, soulful beef. It's something that I've been wanting to find to cook at home for a long time. Here's my closing thoughts on these guys. First of all, they're both bloody ridiculous and delicious. And to me, pretty much meat nirvana when it comes to steak. Secondly, the USDA beef is fantastically creamy when it comes to the fat. And I mean, if you take a piece with a generous bit of fat on it, oh, that has just melted. My God, the flavour is just delicious. Cream, beef, butter, and all this is salt and avocado oil. On the other hand, you can see here a slightly looser texture to the beef itself. Yes, I know it's cooked differently, but it might be the best flavour of beef that I've ever had. Now, if you're having friends over on a Saturday lunchtime and you're making steak and chips, steak frite, you know, with bayonnaise sauce, that sort of thing, this USDA is perfect for that. It's just a perfect piece of sirloin steak that everyone will enjoy. It doesn't matter whether you cook it medium rare up to medium well. Now, on the other hand, if you've got a special dinner, someone you want to impress, even more than this, for something different, you've got a beautiful 30-year-old bottle of Bordeaux, there's just the two of you. Doesn't matter if it's your girlfriend, your wife, or just your best mate that loves eating steak with you. You will sit there and fall in love with this piece of beef. I mean, I just need to get a bit of the outside here where the fat has like sort of crisped up. People are always looking for the most tender cut of beef or the most tender piece of beef, but you've got to remember about the flavour, and flavour doesn't always come with tenderness. Sometimes you need to chew, just like use your teeth and chew, and both of these exemplify that. They're not melt in your mouth, but they're so much more interesting. I mean, every mouthful is just like heaven. So I do apologise, they're not cooked exactly the same. I tried my hardest. I'll keep getting better every video. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen today, that it's helped you decide which piece you might go for what occasion. But just rest assured that Galician and USDA Prime are both exceptional, delicious. And as I said, come back in a few weeks and see what happens when this is aged. I'm not going to age the whole piece because I've enjoyed it as it is. I want to keep some for myself that's not aged, but I'm intrigued to see how that is. And when it comes to it, on that video, I'll have a piece of the wet aged as it is today from the freezer, and I'll have the 2 aged ones, the 2 to 3 weeks, and then the 4 to 6 weeks that I've aged. And I think that would be really interesting. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers.